Chapter 1. Ripples in the Timeline. The neon glow of New Paris's cityscape bathed the Temporal Investigations Department in an ethereal light, casting long shadows across the faces of those who worked tirelessly to safeguard time itself. Among them was Detective Adrian Cross, his features stark against the holographic displays that flickered with the chaos of unsolved anomalies. He stood by the panoramic window of the TD headquarters, gazing into the bustling metropolis below, a city unfettered by the constraints of time, thanks to the marvels and misfortunes that the discovery of quantum mechanics had brought. Beside him, his partner Maya Sato adjusted the parameters on her temporal visualization device, the ambient light reflecting off her determined eyes. "I think I've found something, Adrian," she said, her voice a mixture of excitement and concern. The air around them crackled with anticipation as the device projected a holographic map of the timeline dotted with pulsating points of light, each one representing an anomaly. "What are we looking at?" Adrian asked, his gaze shifting from the city to the map, every fiber of his being attuned to the mysteries it held. Maya pointed to a cluster of lights that shone particularly bright. "These aren't just random anomalies. They're synchronized, occurring simultaneously across multiple timelines. It's as if someone is orchestrating them, creating ripples in the fabric of time itself." Adrian frowned, his mind racing through the implications. "The continuum," he muttered, the name leaving a bitter taste. The shadowy organization had been a thorn in their side for too long, always one step ahead, their motives as elusive as the quantum shadows that seemed to follow in their wake. He studied the map, each point of light a crime against time, a potential catastrophe waiting to be unleashed. "We need to trace the source, find out what they're after," he said, determination setting his jaw firm. Maya nodded, her fingers dancing across the device. "I'll try to isolate the anomalies, see if there's a pattern or a point of origin we can pinpoint." Her brow furrowed in concentration, the magnitude of their task sinking in. Time was their domain, but it was also their enemy, vast and unpredictable. As they delved deeper into the data, a pattern began to emerge not in the spatial coordinates, but in time itself. Each anomaly corresponded to a significant historical event, moments that had shaped the course of humanity. It was as if the continuum was attempting to rewrite history, but to what end? Adrian's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, the pieces of the puzzle slowly coming together, yet still frustratingly out of reach. It was then that he noticed something odd about the map, a tiny glitch in the projection that seemed out of place. He leaned closer, squinting at the anomaly. "Maya, look at this," he said, pointing to the glitch. "Do you see that? It doesn't match the pattern of the other anomalies. It's as if it's out of sync." Maya adjusted the device, enhancing the resolution of the projection. The glitch grew clearer, revealing itself not as a glitch, but as a quantum shadow, a footprint left behind by those who travel through time. But this shadow was different, distorted, as if it was being pulled in two directions at once. "That's impossible," Maya whispered, awe and disbelief mingling in her voice. "Unless—" "Unless what?" Adrian asked, sensing the significance of her discovery. "Unless it's a shadow of a shadow, a reflection of an anomaly within an anomaly. Adrian, this could be the key to understanding the continuum's plan. If we can trace this shadow, we might be able to find where, or when, they're headed next." A spark of hope lit up in Adrian's eyes, a rare occurrence in the dark realm of temporal crime they navigated daily. "Then let's get moving. Time is literally of the essence." Together, they set out on a journey that would take them to the depths of time itself, chasing shadows and unraveling the complex web woven by the continuum. Unbeknownst to them, the path they had embarked upon would lead them not only to the heart of their enemy's plans, but also to revelations that would challenge everything they knew about time, reality, and themselves. As they left the TID headquarters and stepped into the crisp night air of New Paris, the city seemed to hold its breath, the neon lights shimmering like stars in a sky unfettered by the constraints of the ordinary. Ahead of them lay a mystery that spanned the ages, a tale of intrigue and determination set against the backdrop of a world where the boundaries of time were no longer immutable. The chase was on, and the stakes could not be higher, for in the game of time, the past and the future were intertwined, each decision rippling across the ages, shaping the destiny of all who dared to navigate its complex, ever-changing waters. Chapter 2. Echoes of Tomorrow. The quantum engine of their temporal vehicle hummed, a soothing yet alien sound as Adrian and Maya sped through the corridors of time, chasing the elusive shadow that might lead them to the continuum. New Paris vanished, replaced by the swirling kaleidoscope of the time stream, colors and lights blurring together in a dazzling display of quantum physics in action. Adrian kept his hands steady on the controls, his focus unwavering despite the tumultuous journey. Beside him, Maya monitored the temporal coordinates, her expression one of intense concentration. "We're getting close," she announced, her voice cutting through the roar of the engine. "The shadow's resonance is growing stronger." The quantum shadows they pursued were tricky adversaries, remnants of temporal intrusions that defied conventional tracking methods. Yet, with the anomaly within an anomaly they had discovered, they finally had a tangible lead. The very nature of their pursuit was paradoxical, a testament to the complexity of their work in the Temporal Investigations Department. As they emerged from the time stream, the world that greeted them was starkly different from the one they had left. Gone were the neon-lit skyscrapers of New Paris, replaced by a desolate landscape, the ruins of a civilization long forgotten. They had arrived in the aftermath of one of the pivotal battles of the early 22nd century, a conflict that had reshaped the geopolitical landscape of the world. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and decay, a silent testament to the destructive power of temporal anomalies when left unchecked. Adrian felt a pang of sorrow for the lost lives and the history that had been irrevocably altered. Time travel might have been humanity's greatest achievement, but its potential for devastation was unparalleled. "We need to be careful," he said, his eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of the continuum or other temporal travelers. "This area is still unstable, rife with quantum fluctuations." Maya nodded, her device in hand as she scanned the environment. "The shadow's source should be nearby. There." She pointed towards a dilapidated building that stood out against the desolation, its structure somehow intact amidst the surrounding chaos. They approached cautiously, the silence of the abandoned battlefield weighing heavily upon them. Each step seemed to echo across time, a reminder of the fragility of peace in a world where the past could be rewritten with the press of a button. As they neared the building, the air shimmered, and for a moment the very fabric of reality seemed to twist, a visual echo of the anomaly they pursued. Then, standing before them, was a figure shrouded in the shadows of time, a temporal traveler caught in the act of manipulating the timeline. "Stop!" Adrian called out, his weapon drawn. "Temporal Investigations Department, you're in violation of the temporal accord." The figure turned, revealing a face that was both familiar and impossibly enigmatic. It was a man whose age was impossible to determine, his eyes holding the weight of centuries, his expression one of both resignation and defiance. "You do not understand the forces at play, Detective Cross," the man said, his voice resonant with a strange power. "The continuum seeks not to destroy, but to rebuild, to create a future free from the mistakes of the past." "And at what cost?" Maya challenged, her own device aimed at the figure. "How many timelines must be sacrificed for your ideal future? How many lives erased?" The conversation was cut short by the sudden intensification of the air around them, the quantum fluctuations growing erratic. Time and space twisted, a vortex of energy threatening to consume them all. In a desperate bid to stabilize the anomaly, Maya adjusted her device, the intricate dance of quantum mechanics at her fingertips. Adrian watched, torn between apprehending their suspect and escaping the impending temporal collapse. With a final, monumental effort, Maya managed to contain the anomaly, the vortex collapsing into a single point of light before vanishing entirely. They were left standing in the ruins. The figure before them, now nowhere to be seen, vanished into the quantum shadows from whence he came. Breathing hard, Adrian turned to Maya, a mix of gratitude and concern in his eyes. "That was too close," he said. But we've got a lead now. The Continuum's motives, their plans, it's all starting to come together. Maya nodded, her expression determined. But we're also playing with fire. Each intervention, each alteration, it all comes at a cost. We need to find the Continuum and put an end to this before it's too late. The shadows of the ruined building seemed to watch them, a silent audience to the drama that had unfolded. As they made their way back to their temporal vehicle, the weight of their mission pressed heavily upon them, a constant reminder of the delicate balance they must maintain. The echo of tomorrow lingered in the air, a promise and a warning. The path they walked was fraught with danger, but also with the potential for redemption. For Adrian and Maya, the journey through the quantum shadows had only just begun, each step taking them deeper into the heart of the mystery that threatened the very fabric of reality. Chapter 3. The Paradox Core. The return journey through the time stream was a silent one, the weight of their recent encounter pressing down on Adrian and Maya like a physical force. The ruins of the 22 and 9th century battlefield faded away, replaced once again by the swirling colors of temporal transit. Yet even as they moved forward, Adrian's mind lingered on the figure they had confronted, his words echoing with an unnerving resonance. To create a future free from the mistakes of the past, he had said. Was there a kernel of truth in the motivations of the Continuum, or was it a facade designed to justify their reckless tampering with time? Maya, sensing Adrian's troubled thoughts, broke the silence. We can't let ourselves be swayed by the Continuum's rhetoric. The path they've chosen endangers the very fabric of reality itself. Oh. Adrian nodded, but his gaze remained distant, lost in contemplation. I know, he replied softly. It's just that every choice we make in this job, it seems to come with consequences we can't fully predict or understand. Where do we draw the line? Before Maya could respond, the quantum engine emitted a high-pitched whine, indicating their imminent re-entry into their own timeline. With practiced ease, Adrian guided their temporal vehicle back to reality, the familiar skyline of New Paris materializing around them. They arrived back at TID headquarters to find the atmosphere electric with tension. Agents moved about with a sense of urgency uncommon even for the high-stakes environment of the department. As Adrian and Maya disembarked, their supervisor, Director Eleanor Choi, approached, her expression grave. "Cross Sato, you're back. We've got a situation," she said, her voice tight with concern. "While you were away, we detected a major temporal anomaly, a disturbance unlike anything we've ever encountered. It's centered right here in New Paris, and it's expanding." Adrian exchanged a worried glance with Maya. "Do we know the cause?" Director Choi shook her head. "Not yet, but initial scans suggest it's emanating from a source we've never detected before. We're calling it the Paradox Core. Whatever it is, it's powerful enough to unravel the city's timeline if we don't act quickly." Without a moment's hesitation, Adrian and Maya sprang into action, following Director Choi to the operations center. The room buzzed with activity as agents tracked the anomaly's progression, their faces etched with determination and fear. Adrian approached the main console, reviewing the data streaming in. The anomaly, the so-called Paradox Core, was indeed unlike anything they had encountered. It pulsated on the screen, a maelstrom of temporal energy at the heart of the city. Around it, time appeared to warp and fracture, creating pockets where the past, present, and future collided in chaotic flux. "This is our doing, isn't it?" Maya murmured, standing beside him. "The Continuum's actions, our attempts to counter them, we're tearing time apart at the seams." "We can't focus on that now," Adrian replied, though her words cut deep. "We need to find a way to neutralize the core before it's too late." Director Choi joined them, her gaze fixed on the display. "We're mobilizing every available agent, but we need a plan. Cross, Sato, you're our best hope. Do you have any ideas?" Adrian's mind raced, piecing together their encounters with the Continuum, the quantum shadows, and the words of the mysterious figure they had met in the ruins. And then, like a bolt of clarity striking through the chaos, an idea formed. "The core," he said, turning to face his colleagues. What if it's not just an anomaly? What if it's a convergence point? A place where all the quantum shadows and disturbances caused by the continuum and our interventions collide? Director Choi's eyes widened. You're suggesting that by resolving the disturbances at their source, we might be able to stabilize the core? Exactly, Adrian affirmed. But we'll need to act fast and precisely. We have to trace the quantum shadows back to their origins and resolve the anomalies there. It's the only way to stop the core from expanding. Maya nodded, understanding dawning in her eyes. And if we succeed, we might not just save New Paris. We could potentially undo some of the damage we've caused, restore the timelines we've altered. It was a long shot, a gamble with the highest stakes imaginable. But as the anomaly's influence spread, threatening to engulf the city and beyond, they knew they had no other option. Director Choi gave them a determined nod. All right, Cross Sato, prepare to deploy. You'll have every resource at your disposal. We're counting on you. As Adrian and Maya readied themselves for the mission ahead, they understood the enormity of the task before them. They were about to embark on an operation that would take them to the very brink of time itself, where every action could either save or doom countless lives. With the fate of New Paris, and perhaps even the entire timeline in their hands, they stepped once more into the quantum shadows, ready to face the paradox at the heart of it all. Chapter 4. The Nexus of Futures. Clad in the suit of temporal resolve, Adrian and Maya stood on the precipice of the unknown, the vastness of time unfolding before them like a tumultuous sea. The paradox core loomed in the distance, a beacon of chaos at the heart of New Paris, pulsating with a ferocity that threatened to tear the very fabric of reality asunder. The plan is simple, but execution will be anything but, Adrian remarked, his eyes fixed on the horizon. We travel to the quantum shadows, resolve the anomalies at their source, and hope that it stabilizes the core. Maya nodded, her focus sharp. We've dealt with shadows before, but never on this scale. The disturbances might resist our attempts to correct them. We need to be prepared for anything. With a shared glance that communicated their mutual determination and understanding, they activated their temporal devices, setting the coordinates for the first of many quantum shadows. With a rush of energy that defied description, they were plunged into the time stream, the boundaries of past, present, and future blurring around them. Their first stop was a shadow rooted deep in the late 21st century, a world teetering on the brink of technological singularity. Here, the continuum had attempted to sway the course of scientific discovery, ensuring their control over emerging technologies. Adrian and Maya had to navigate the complex politics of innovation, while ensuring the rightful pioneers of quantum computing received the recognition and resources needed to guide humanity towards a balanced future. Each correction sent ripples through the timeline, subtle yet significant alterations that gradually diminished the instability surrounding the paradox core. The detective duo moved through time, from the fallout of political upheavals they gently nudged back to their original courses, to the echoes of wars where they whispered peace into the right ears. Each intervention was a delicate operation, a balancing act between doing too much and too little. As they progressed, Adrian couldn't help but feel the weight of their actions pressing down on him. With each shadow they corrected, the potential for unintended consequences grew. The moral implications of their mission hung over him like a specter, haunting his every move. It's like walking through a minefield, Adrian confessed to Maya during a brief respite. Each step could be the one that saves or shatters everything. Maya regarded him with a steady gaze, her resolve unwavering. We knew the risks when we took on this mission. The balance of time is fragile, but if we don't act, the consequences will be catastrophic. We have to trust in our judgment, Adrian, and in the science that guides us. As they approached the epicenter of the paradox core, the disturbances became more pronounced, the timeline fracturing before their eyes. They found themselves in the midst of New Paris, years before the anomaly's creation, yet the city was unrecognizable. The shadows had converged here, creating a nexus point where multiple potential futures battled for dominance. It was here, amidst the chaos of competing timelines, that they encountered the continuum once more. The mysterious figure, the man who had eluded them before, stood at the heart of the nexus, his eyes reflecting the turmoil around him. "You've come far, Detective Cross, Miss Sato," he said, his voice carrying a note of respect. "But you cannot stop what is already in motion. The core is the culmination of our efforts, a beacon for a new era." Adrian stepped forward, determination stealing his features. "Your new era is built on the destruction of countless lives and futures. We've seen the damage your actions have caused. It ends now." The figure shook his head, a smile playing on his lips. "You believe you're correcting the shadows, but you're merely choosing which futures to sacrifice. The core ensures our survival, the survival of the timeline that deserves to prevail." It was then that realization dawned on Adrian and Maya, the true nature of the paradox core becoming clear. It wasn't just an anomaly, it was a deliberate creation, a point of convergence designed to merge multiple timelines into one optimal future chosen by the continuum. With the fate of countless futures hanging in the balance, Adrian and Maya prepared for their final confrontation. The battle for the timeline would be fought here at the nexus of futures, where the shadows converged, and the destiny of humanity would be decided.